How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is running its excellent Essential Pick sale right now, and I am here to look at some of the deals under $5. A lot of great stuff under $5. Obviously, a lot of reiterating of the same stuff, but there's always like 4 of you that don't own these games, so let's get right into it and let's start things off with what I think is quite possibly the best deal across this entire sale, and it is Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition, 90% off for $3.99. I think it's super smart that, I don't know who made the decision, Deep Silver, Warhorse, to cut this game's cost even lower as we're coming up on the release of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I just think it's going to make a lot of people check this game out. The fact that it's $3.99, I mean, that's a bargain. Given that you're getting the base game, given that you're getting all of the DLC content. Now, KCD, let's be honest, isn't a game for everyone. I think the more realistic approach isn't going to vibe with a lot of people, but if you like the historical setting, I really think that is the biggest drawing card that this game has. I think its setting, its world is absolutely fantastic. It can be a little bit overwhelming at times figuring out like everything you want to do in the game, but I think it's a really, really well done game, a captivating narrative as well. For $3.99 with the bonus content, I think this is a great deal, and gotta give Warhorse a lot of credit as well for revealing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and not doing any of this. It'll be out in 2033, guys! No, it's out later this year, which I think is just fantastic. Even if it gets pushed to 2025, which I don't think it's gonna be, it's just more of what Warhorse has been doing, you know, letting something cook and then revealing it and then following up with the release. And then also, again, I don't know who made the decision of discounting this game so heavily, but yeah, it's gonna make a lot more people hopefully check it out. Next up, Burnout Paradise Remastered, 75% off for $4.99. I love Burnout Paradise. I think it's an excellent open-world arcade racer. Now, this is a game that came out, wait for it, in January of 2008. Yes, it has been almost 17 years since Burnout Paradise came out. Holy hell, that is insane to think about. I remember when Burnout Paradise initially came out, and what immediately, you know, for 11, 12-year-old me, immediately drew me into Burnout Paradise and made me really enjoy it was the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was awesome, and obviously, you know, licensed music always gonna be a little bit subjective, but when you got songs like, you know, My Curse by Killswitch Engage, you've got a song from the same band that did the Dragon's Dogma theme, which is a great song. It's called Friction. Awesome song. There's just a lot of great tracks in Burnout Paradise. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm actually interested in how EA got around, like, the licensing agreements and everything like that. Like, with these racing games and licensed music, it's always kind of a crap show as far as keeping the game listed, as far as that's concerned. But thankfully, it's still live. I don't know if it's going to get pulled at some point. You always got to be a little bit cautious about that. But Burnout Paradise Remastered's been out for like 6 years now, so great open world arcade racer. Some dated elements there for sure, but overall really did enjoy it. And again, a game that's enjoyable to just kick back, relax, and have a fun time in an open world with a lot of chaos, a lot of mayhem. That's exactly what you're going to get out of Burnout Paradise. Next up, we have Castle Crashers Remastered, 80% off for $2.99. I mean, this is, to me, one of the more iconic co-op games of all time. I know some people say that you can have a great time with just playing it solo. Actually, whenever I said I feel like Castle Crashers is very much designed to be played in co-op, somebody vehemently commented and responded to me being like, you don't know what you're talking about, Castle Crashers can be played solo. And like, yo, I get it. It's a fun action beat 'em up, but I just think about this game as one of those games you kick back with your boys, you just shoot the crap, and you have a good time and not take life too seriously. Like, that's what I feel like Castle Crashers really excels at. A very charming, cartoony art style that has just aged pretty well for a game that's, what, 15 years old? 13 years old? Something like that at this point. Yeah, just a great game. Get your boys to pick it up, or if you want to play it solo, give it a shot. It's only $2.99. It's going to be a great pickup there. Next up, we got Little Nightmares, 75% off for $4.99. This is one of those atmospheric horror titles that I really go to bat for and I try to give a lot of attention to. It's just really, really well done. And if I can say one thing about Little Nightmares that it excels at comparatively to a lot of horror games, and horror games, they don't all fit under the same umbrella. They can target different aspects of that horror element to really resonate with. But I feel like with Little Nightmares, the eeriness of the game, like how much of the game is psychologically engaging and just how much you're a little bit bugged out playing the game. I feel like Little Nightmares does a really, really good job. Just having that right amount of eeriness that's like, okay, it's an engaging experience as far as that's concerned. $4.99 is a great price for it. Little Nightmares 2 is a great game as well. Little Nightmares 3 in development right now. Happy to see this is a franchise that is kind of, you know, taken off to an extent, all things considered. Next up, we got Castlevania, Requiem, Symphony of the Night, and Rondo of Blood. 80% off for $3.99. Symphony of the Night is one of the most iconic PlayStation 1 games of all time. I would even say one of the most iconic video games of all time. Like, if you want to talk about Castlevania games, Metroidvania-style titles, Symphony of the Night is one of those games that people constantly bring up and talk up. It's a little bit, obviously, like, PS1 was my first console, but, you know, being a child, I only had access to a limited number of games. And Symphony of the Night, I think a buddy of mine, when I was, like, really young, had it, but I never got super into it back in the day. It's one of those ones that I played years down the line. And I had a good time with it, but I probably don't have that attachment towards it that a lot of other people have. Rondo of Blood was a game that was out for a while overseas, but then it came stateside when Dracula X Chronicles, I want to say, came out on the PSP, and that's how I initially played the game. Yeah, I was a PSP fiend, and you're damn right, I was playing Dracula X Chronicles. That game was pretty solid as well, but, yeah, you got Symphony of the Night, Rondo of Blood, 80% off, $3.99, pretty good price there. Next up, we got XCOM 2, 95% off for $2.99. One of those tactics games that I always go to bat for as well. I think Firaxis is an incredibly talented studio, and I loved XCOM Enemy Unknown. Played that back during summer break one year on PC and just absolutely loved it, even though tactics games aren't my cup of tea. XCOM 2, on the other hand, definitely had some shortcomings when it came from the technical side of things. Unfortunately, that left a lot to be desired, and it's not like this game got a PS5 upgrade or anything like that, but I still think from a fundamental tactics gameplay standpoint, it's really well done. You're paying $2.99, and that's a bargain. I do usually recommend to try to pick up XCOM 2, the collection. That is not on sale right now, and that base price of $100, do not be paying that. It does go on sale for like $8, $9 though, or even $10, and for that price point, I would say it's definitely worth it. You get the base game, War of the Chosen, and some other DLC content. But if you just want to stick to the cheap side, you want to check out the base game, $2.99 for XCOM 2 is a pretty solid pickup as well. Next up, we got Mirror's Edge Catalyst, 75% off for $4.99. This is one of those games that when it was revealed, people were incredibly excited about it, just because I don't think a lot of people expected us to actually get a follow-up to Mirror's Edge, because the game wasn't like a commercial home run back in 2008. But Catalyst got revealed. It was more of a game that anybody can pick up and enjoy, you know, its own story. And there's a lot of things I like about Mirror's Edge Catalyst, and I feel like it's one of those games that back in, I want to say it was 2015 when it came out, yeah, people were disappointed by it, but also it's a game that people are going back and playing recently. I'm not saying people are going back in droves, but the people that are like, hey, there's a good game here, there's a worthwhile game to play here, and I absolutely believe that's the case. Some gorgeous visuals for a game that's almost a decade old, looks fantastic to this day, and it still has some great parkour platforming gameplay. For $4.99, I think it's a great pickup. You're going into it with much more tempered expectations than, you know, people did back in 2015, and again, for this price point, I think it's a great pickup. Next up, for the two people that don't own Limbo, 75% off for $2.49. Incredibly atmospheric platformer. Relatively short, of course, but I feel like this is one of those games that, when it came out as a downloadable title, was incredibly compelling and kind of showcased the ceiling that downloadable titles and smaller scale games had. Limbo absolutely kind of showcased that. Inside, also a great game done by Playdead. And I believe the creator of Limbo recently also did Cocoon, which is a really well-received game, so take that for what you will. But $2.49 for Limbo, great price there. Next up, we got Frostpunk Console Edition, 85% off for $4.49. Now, Frostpunk is a game that I spent the bulk of my time on PC. It's one of those city builders that's just going to be city builder survival games that's just, you know, made for a keyboard and mouse, but it makes a pretty smooth transition to the PlayStation controls as well, and is worthwhile to play. Certainly, it's not a game that's for everyone in the sense that, you know, city builders are just not going to vibe with everybody. But if you want a game with some depth to it, nuance, and, you know, kind of emotionally gripping decision-making, I feel like Frostpunk gives you a lot of that. City builders on consoles and, you know, with a controller is still something that I feel like isn't going to be the ideal way to play the game, but it still works very well, and if console's the only thing you have, Frostpunk is a totally suitable experience on PlayStation. Not the complete collection, unfortunately. That is not on sale right now, but the base game for $4.49, good price there. Next up, Mad Max, 75% off for $4.99. Guys, I really enjoyed Mad Max. I thought it was a pretty well done open world action title. I thought the action combat was really well done. and just a very, very satisfying gameplay style to it. Narratively, it does pick up by the end, but unfortunately, we'll never get a sequel to it. The thing that stood out to me about Mad Max, even back in 2015, is that this game ran incredibly well. Obviously, it takes place in a barren desert, so it's not like, you know, visually it looks fine, but it's not blow away, but I just remember the gameplay being incredibly smooth. For $4.99, a good pickup here, I would check it out. Resident Evil Revelations, 75% off for $4.99. The Forgotten Resident Evil game, one of the more underrated Resident Evil titles, originally released as a Nintendo 3DS exclusive, then got remastered on PS3, 360, and PC, and then it came out on PS4, Xbox One. Good game. Visually, again, it's a remastering of a 3DS game, so keep that in mind, but looks fairly good. Gameplay solid. Narratively, I enjoyed it. And for $4.99, I think RE Revelations is a good buy. And again, a forgotten game in the Resident Evil universe. And lastly, we got SOMA, 90% off for $2.99. This is legitimately one of my favorite horror games of all time. It really does excel at being psychologically gripping. And that is one of those elements that I feel like if a horror game can land on, it very much creates a compelling experience, and I feel like SOMA landed on that perfectly, where you don't play as an overpowered soldier or anything like that, and it takes place in this very, very trippy, eerie as well, underwater remote research facility. Looks great from a visual standpoint, and just a worthwhile game. Very much on the shorter side, but for $2.99. No-brainer there if you're remotely into horror titles. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great PlayStation game deals available right now. Links to all of these in the description box below. As always, thanks for watching. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.